Hi guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Prab and I talk about all things self-love, healing and spirituality. I've been on a healing journey for a little over 3 years at this point, and I have been multiple times at a point where I feel lost all over again, and at this point I'm having a hard time, but I'm slowly learning to accept that this is also a part of the process. And my goal, I don't even know if I should be having any goals on this healing journey, but what I really feel at this stage is that I really want to get to a place where nothing on the outside really control how I feel. That's all I want. And in this video I want to talk about some things that really helped me get through the difficult times, and also at the starting of my healing journey, some things that naturally just came to me that I started practicing, like little habits, things that I did in order to heal myself, and things that actually made me feel like I was healing and gave me some sense of inner peace and some sense of belonging. The very beginning of my healing journey, which was about a little over 3 years ago, I started like crying a lot. I was purging a lot of deep suppressed pain through crying. And most of the time, I was crying over very little things or just crying for no reason at all. At first, I did not understand it and I really tried to like fix it, but eventually I just accepted it. Healing journey kind of began when I started really going inwards, and I just wanted to just be a better person, and I really just wanted to learn like how to understand why I was feeling this emptiness inside me despite of having, what looks like an ideal life from the outside. I was just so unhappy. As I started having these inner dialogues with myself more and more, I started journaling as well at the same time. I was just writing whatever I was feeling. No scripts, no nothing, no expectations. I was just moving forward. So what really started happening at the very beginning for me was random crying outbursts, which really scared me at the beginning. At one point I really thought that I was depressed and I sought medical help as well, but really what it was I think I was purging very deep seated emotions and feelings that I had never felt in the longest time, because that's what we do. When we don't know how to process emotions, we often suppress them and we just simply keep going through life on survival mode, on autopilot. We are just like trying to always be positive and like move through life with courage and work hard and all of that, and there's nothing wrong with any of that, obviously. But when you ignore your inner world, when you have not built safety deep within yourself, it really shatters you and it really affects you a great deal when anything in your outer life starts feeling uncomfortable or anything goes wrong. You are just so shaken and you really don't have anything to fall back on, where what it should be is your inner world. You should have ideally like enough inner capacity to hold yourself, to stay rooted and sovereign when you are going through anything in life. When you have not yet built that capacity, when you have not yet built that inner safety yet, sometimes it's like a deeply shaking event that happens in your life, which then redirects you to go inwards and to like really feel those feelings and sit with your real true self, which is always asking for your attention, which is always needing you. But the thing is, it just feels so uncomfortable because we never learned anything about our inner worlds. We never learned how to sit with ourselves when we feel sad, broken, hurt, angry, or uncomfortable in general. We just don't know. It's just so alien for us, right? So when I started slowly understanding that this was something that I was going through, that I was having to face all this grief and trauma and pain that was like dormant for so many years, I slowly started learning to like accept myself as I was going through those phases, which I am doing, by the way, to this day. So crying is really therapeutic in every way, like in terms of scientific and biological and physiological changes that we go through when we are crying. Like, it just heals you in every way. It is a way of processing your emotions. If you are generally a very sensitive person, good, it's okay to cry, because sensitive people are the ones who often feel like they are weak if they are too sensitive, if they cry very easily over little things, okay? Like, first of all, what you need to do is you need to accept that about yourself, that it's okay if you're a crier. When you're specifically going through a healing, conscious healing journey, you are going to have to allow yourself to cry, and you have to learn to like hold yourself and comfort yourself through any emotions that come up for you. So crying really helped me a lot to understand and, you know, to process that grief of maybe like a childhood that you should have had but you did not have. For every time that you had to stay silent when you wanted to speak up, when you wanted to express what you wanted but you were not allowed to, you had to just, you know, silently accept whatever was given to you, whether it was disrespect, not being seen, not being loved, not being comforted through difficult emotions, which is how we learn to eventually suppress our feelings and emotions. And what also helped me was learning to understand and develop a connection with my inner child, with understanding your child self. Okay, when you were little, the things that you went through, you somehow subconsciously are still holding on to most of those feelings, especially the negative ones. Those feelings are what keep coming up when you are super reactive and angry and just deeply hurt in situations. Okay, it's just your subconscious mind. It's that child that never was loved how it was supposed to be loved, so you're still somehow looking for other people to save you from that pain, which is never going to happen, which is impossible until you learn to a certain extent to understand and ease that pain for your own self. I eventually learned to like really talk to myself softly and kindly and have a positive inner dialogue. I started cultivating that consciously every single day. Whenever you make a mistake and you're like judging yourself, um, you feel like you're not good enough in certain areas of your life, okay, you are failing because you are not good enough, something didn't turn out the way it should have because you are not good enough. Not feeling good enough and feeling unworthy are literally universal psychological wounds which most of us have unconsciously running in the background, controlling many areas of our life where we keep facing resentment, you know, difficulties, and just not never feeling satisfied in general. Then the problem persists when we go on blaming other people or situations for our problems instead of looking inwards. When we actually look inwards, we understand the part that we play. Okay, we may have a wounded inner child, we may have our own psychological wounds and limiting beliefs in the way of the things that are not working out for us. What we need to do, instead of blaming anything or anyone on the outside, what we need to be doing is we need to be focusing on ourselves and being kind to ourselves until we have enough space, we have enough calm and relaxation within our nervous system to then take action from a place of love and non attachment, and, you know, just feeling the joy of doing things instead of just always focusing on what it is going to give me in return. The real joy is in the journey itself, not in the final destination. It's about who you become in the process, right? It's not always the final destination, because there's always going to be something that's waiting for you after that. So it's like you're always doing something, but what's important is fully being present in the now, like enjoying what you are doing right in this moment, even if your mind makes it feel like it's not good enough, like you need more to feel happy, you need more to, that is the loop that never ends. If something goes wrong and you're beating yourself up for that, guess what life is going to give you? Universe is going to give you more of that, and then that loop continues. So you have to be the one to break the loop by being kind to yourself, taking responsibility for the part where you're maybe like holding yourself back by thinking that you're the victim, or you're not good enough, or you're not deserving enough. You know, reversing those beliefs, taking that responsibility but not blaming yourself or anybody else like it's nobody's fault. It's just life, accepting the reality of life. Then comes the part where forgiveness plays a huge role. Before you go out into the world thinking that you need to, be the bigger person and you need to like forgive people, forget about that part for now. You just need to learn to forgive yourself first and foremost, because we are the hardest on our own selves than we are on anybody else. Anything that you're holding up against yourself, any past pain, you may think your parents didn't raise you how you should have been raised, you were not loved how you were supposed to, someone broke your heart, someone broke your trust, someone betrayed you, and you're holding that bitterness, that resentment in your heart. You're slowly going to learn to forgive yourself, because the resentment that you're holding on to still is in here. You did not deserve to be hurt like that, but what you are doing, you are only perpetuating that hurt when you are holding on to those feelings. You have to slowly accept the reality of the things, how however they unfolded, and then you eventually have to let it all go for your own sake. If you're having a hard time letting go, because I get it, you have to forgive yourself over and over again for not being able to let go, because it's just so much pain, it is just so hurtful. Like what can you do? Yeah, you just feel the hurt and you eventually accept it, because there is no other way around this. Then slowly what you'll also notice is when you truly forgive yourself, when you start cultivating that deep self love and positive inner dialogue on a consistent basis, like that becomes kind of your baseline. You can go off track on and off a little bit, especially in the beginning. It's okay, but eventually you just have to bring your conscious mind back to being kind and loving towards your own self. Eventually the energy of that state of mind, of that mindset, will start healing you deeply inwards. And then if you come to a place of forgiving a certain situation or a person, it will be much more easier for you to forgive other people. When you have eventually forgiven yourself, then you can maybe start working on forgiveness, cultivating forgiveness for other people, because that's also for the highest good of everyone involved, including yourself. One of the most important lesson that I learned, and the practice that I started doing that helped me feel I am healing, is that developing a healthy relationship with my anger. Because I feel like also being a woman, we are generally like programmed to suppress our anger and like be nice and be accommodating and be giving and nurturing, and that's how most of us women are programmed. There's that deep feminine rage that's there in every female in the first place, but then there's also your life events, like specific situations in life that make us feel really angry and like unseen. Your anger is literally sacred. Whenever you feel angry, it's an invitation to love yourself deeply and to like give yourself attention. It's literally your body, your nervous system, your soul screaming for your own love and attention, because you feel angry when you feel like your boundaries are crossed, okay, when you are not being understood, not being seen. What we need to learn, however, is healthier ways of expressing and channeling that anger, because how we learned to express our anger is through use of poor language or reacting to things, sometimes breaking things to the point where you have absolutely no control over your physical reactions when you feel angry. That is highly unhealthy for yourself and any other people involved, for obvious reasons, right? But when you start seeing your anger for what it is, it's actually just a deep cry for help. It's a deep cry for your own love and attention, which you have been ignoring yourself for all this time. You feel angry because you're not choosing yourself. It's absolutely okay to feel angry, but it's also important to learn to step aside and to regulate your anger and then come from a place of peace and calm once you're ready, and then have that communication and express your needs in a healthy way. If you're often like suppressing your needs from in the fear of losing people or disappointing other people, because low key you're just afraid of losing connections and people. Guess how all that suppressed energy of suppressed desires and needs is going to show up? It's going to show up as anger. Anger is trying to protect you mostly from your own self, because you do not have any boundaries for yourself, because you are not even seeing that your needs are valid, because you're just so afraid of losing other people all the time, losing connections, losing things all the time, that you don't even see yourself, you don't even notice yourself, you don't even sit with yourself. So anger is often usually deeply just a cry for your own love and your own attention. Stop being scared of your anger. What you need to learn is to love yourself, so you can have enough capacity within yourself to sit with your anger whenever you're feeling angry instead of reacting all the time. Another thing that helped me heal, feel like I am healing, is becoming confrontational. Earlier, what used to happen was, even when I wasn't at fault, when someone confronted me for anything which was uncomfortable, even if I wasn't at fault, my body would freeze and I would feel like really uncomfortable. I just did not want confrontation at all. And when I started cultivating all these practices in my everyday life, I slowly began to develop more courage. If someone's made a mistake which did not sit right with me beforehand, I would just like ignore it. If it's not that significant, I would just be like, just it's okay, like, but as long as you are coming from a healthy place, it's not your fault, and something's not sitting right with you, you have every right to speak up for yourself. And at the same time, you don't need to disrespect anyone, you don't need to shout at anyone, you don't need to be angry. You can always be respectful and you can confront people. It's very normal. But your nervous system, which is always in fight or flight, is always like you're always on eggshells. It just doesn't feel normal to you. You avoid, you ignore, you just rather not, right? I eventually like started doing more of that. I started being more vocal about things I like, things I don't like, started being more confrontational. It did feel a little bit uncomfortable, but that discomfort started easing as the time went on. I started saying no without fearing how other people would react. I started choosing myself without giving explanations. I cannot go do this thing because da da da, right? I would just simply say, I'm sorry, I am not available, or I would not like to do this thing, and not giving a paragraph long explanation as to why I don't want to do a certain thing. These things literally heal your nervous system. These things literally heal you, because we have been so programmed to constantly people please and actively make people feel comfortable. What we are subconsciously trying to do is to get people on our side, get people to like us, get people to be nice to us. How we functioned in our childhoods, right? That's how we literally functioned all the time, and that has now become our programming. And the only way we can break out of this is taking conscious action, cultivating these little practices throughout our daily lives. It has to be almost like a lifestyle. It can't be just a year or 2 year or 3 year process. It has to be a way of life. You just have to give all the kindness and love and empathy and everything that you're looking for from other people in the world. You just have to give it all to your own self and not expect anything from anyone else. Because at the end of the day, when you are actually genuinely giving to yourself, doing things for yourself, not to earn any approval or validation from other people, you will not naturally not feel the need for other people to fill that void, because you're already giving all of that to your own self. I hope this helps.